Contents of the Gita summarized. This is, thank you everyone for coming. This is a small gathering today. This beautiful weather we have. Karpanya dasho pahata svabhava trishami tvam dharma samudachitaha yatsheha shan nishtitam bruhitam me shishaste ham shadi mam tvam prapanam. Translation. When I read the translation, it's one of the reasons why I chose this verse. It reminds me of me. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. I'm sorry, let's go back. Let's do the word for word. Karpanya, of miserliness. Dosha, by the weakness. Upahata, being afflicted. Svabhava, characteristics. Prishchami, I am asking. Tvam, unto you. Dharma, religion. Samuda,
Samuda,
bewildered.
bewildered.
Chetaha,
Chetaha,
in heart.
in heart.
Yat,
Yat,
what?
what?
Shreya,
Shreya,
all good.
all good.
Shat,
Shat,
maybe.
maybe.
Nishchitam,
Nishitam,
confident.
confidently.
Bruhi,
Ruhi,
tell.
tell.
Tat,
Tat,
that.
that.
May, unto me.
Unto me.
Shisha,
Shisha,
disciples.
disciples.
Te, your. Aham, I am.
I am.
Shadi,
Shadi,
you instruct.
you instruct.
Mam, me.
May,
Twam, unto me. Unto you.
unto you.
Prapanam,
Prapanam,
surrender.
surrender.
Okay, let's do the translation with repetition. Now I am confused
Now I am confused
about my duty
about my duty
and have lost all composure
and have lost all composure
because of miserly weakness.
because of miserly weakness.
In this condition,
In this condition,
I am asking you
I am asking you
to tell me
to tell me
for certain what is best for me.
what is best for me.
Now I am your disciple
Now I am your disciple,
and a soul surrendered unto you.
and a soul surrendered unto you.
Please instruct me.
Please instruct me.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire. They're like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not therefore remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yova itad aksharam gard yad vidit vas malokat reiti sakripana. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human, and who thus quits this world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmin, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize his body to solve all the problems of life. Yaitad aksharam gargi vidit vas malokat raiti sabrahma. The Kripanas, or miserly persons, waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc., in the material conception of life. One is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members, on the basis of skin disease. The Kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death or the Krishna thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals, who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. Although he could understand that, his duty to fight was awaiting him. Still, on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and disciple are serious. And now, Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself. And yet, foolish, mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There's no difference between Krishna's within and without. And one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So, Srila Prabhupada stresses, he actually says he's a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human, and who thus quits this world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. So, from this we can derive what is our purpose? What is the purpose of our human form of life? Most of us here come to the conclusion to revive our God consciousness, to once again love that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So, we shouldn't be embarrassed by our problems. Our problems give us an opportunity for advancement. There's a saying, be brave enough to feel it so you can heal it. So, what that means is essentially face your problems. Whatever you're feeling problematically, be truthful to yourself and acknowledge the problems we may have. And then we can heal those problems. Philosophically, we may understand that our real problems are birth, disease, old age, and death. We may understand that philosophically. But daily, we all face problems. We may have a broken carburetor, or the air conditioning may be out, or the heat, or we may have a toe ache. Whatever the problem may be, we should be honest about what to speak of. These are very mundane, you could say, or simple problems, but what to speak of emotional problems or mental problems we may have. So if we're not truthful to ourselves in facing our problems, and helping each other in assisting each other, in serving each other to help solve these mundane problems, how we think we'll solve the ultimate problem. We have to practice these fundamentals as Vaishnavas, these fundamental activities of helping others. I want to read to you something from dear godbrother of ours, Vedanta-krt Maharaj. I think I may have read this before, but he is saying that one devotee in Mayapur once approached His Holiness Jayapataka Swami and asked him, if you have free time, what would you teach your disciples? Probably Prabhu expected him to say that Maharaj would teach deep aspects of Radha Krishna Bhakti and secrets of the Bhagavatam and pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Surprisingly, Maharaj's answer was very different. He said, if I have time to teach my disciples, I would teach them to respect their parents, elders, friends, and Vaishnavas. Teach them to help, serve, and assist others in their service. Teach them to forgive and forget others' mistakes. Teach them to show love, affection, and compassion to their godbrothers and Vaishnavas. Teach them to have a big heart to accept everyone without any conditions. Maharaj further continued and said, if you love someone, someone will love you. If you show mercy, someone will be merciful to you. If you judge someone, someone will judge you. If you have trust and faith in someone, someone will have trust and faith in you. If you insult someone, someone will insult you. If you encourage someone to serve Guru and Krishna to their ability, someone will encourage you in this regard. If you harm someone, someone else will harm you too. If you show compassion on the face during another devotee's sorrow or fall downs, and secretively enjoy his state at heart, someone will also do the same to you. This Prabhu said to Jayapataka that this was all worldly and materialistic aspects. Maharaj immediately said that this is the problem with our devotees. We talk high principles of bhakti and preach extensively about Krishna consciousness, but fail to realize and imbibe these so-called simple but great human qualities, which are the very foundation of Vaishnava character. So, he also said that the main impediment which retards the growth of a Vaishnava is the envy and ill feelings toward other Vaishnavas who are contributing their might to serve Guru and Krishna. Prabhu understood the in-depth feelings of Maharaj and thanked him for enlightening him on this very important but most fundamental aspect. So, we all have problems. Anyone here can say they have no problems? I mean, philosophically, once again, Prabhupada taught us the adhyatmic, adhibautic, adhidaivic problems that we all face in this material body. But he also taught us that a devotee means accepting the Supreme and being convinced that we have a relationship with God. And that relationship is based on love. So we have to always remember, like in baseball or sports, when they say, don't take your eye off the ball. If you want to be successful, always remember that we're here to revive our loving relationship with Krishna. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he's taught us, he's given us the information. There's the saying, knowledge is a prerequisite for love. He's given us knowledge of Krishna. Otherwise, who do we know who to love? I mean, I had some concept of a supreme person through Christianity. But even in Christianity, they didn't know much about God the Father. We're getting ready, the Western world, most of the world actually, is getting ready to celebrate the appearance of Lord Jesus. Although it's become very commercialized. He was such a, as Prabhupada said, he was a Shakti Vaishavatar. He was pure devotee of the Lord, pure servant, pure son of God. But they've commercialized it so much now. And the real essence of his teachings have been forgotten. Not many Christians, I would dare probably even tell you the Ten Commandments, but to speak of the details of his teachings. Most of them have never ever read the Bible. They become absorbed in some 30, 45-minute ritual on a Sunday and know that they can go out and sin the rest of the week because then Lord Jesus is going to forgive them. So this is not a very good way to love God, that I'll sin and do all the wrong things, but hey, this other person's going to save me. We should be very sincere in our application of trying to love God, how to love God. Srila Prabhupada taught us so many things, and there's a saying, charity begins at home. So we have to do a lot of introspection, a lot of work on ourselves, and then we can actually take those realizations and share them with others and try to teach others, guide others, share with others what we've learned about how to love God. It's our duty as representatives of Srila Prabhupada to continue to spread this movement through what realizations we get. And we can get realizations more and more by sharing with each other, by listening to each other, and by, of course, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, by chanting, by associating nicely. It's just like one of the other aspects of Christmas is they exchange gifts. Well, this is something that we as Vaishnavas, it's part of our philosophy, to give gifts in charity and accept charitable gifts. It's a symptom that we also adhere to. So all these things that most religions abide by as ways of advancing in loving God, you'll see similarities. So we shouldn't put a limit on Krishna bhakti, on Krishna consciousness. And we should realize that others in other faiths can also be God conscious. And we shouldn't disturb their faith, but should try our best to share with them what we've learned. And like I say, knowledge is a prerequisite for love. So what we know, or what knowledge we may have that they may not have, we should share it with them. And what they have learned, or how they can express their God consciousness, we should listen and hear. As Srila Prabhupada, we can learn from anyone. And the simple thing that Srila Prabhupada told us, to always remember Krishna and never forget him. This is a very important principle. So we should always be meditating on Krishna. We have problems throughout the day. Everyone has it. The body may be hurting. We may be chasing after our children. We may be doing this. We may be doing that. Everyone has some problems. But we should embrace these problems in the service of the Lord. And there's a saying also, there's strength in needing others. It's not weakness to say that you need others. There's strength in that. So we should lean on each other's strength in Krishna consciousness, and help each other in this material world. There's no place for a gentleman, Bhaktisiddhanta would say. So there's so much obvious, so many problems and suffering here. We all have to face the 4 problems we talked about earlier: birth, disease, old age, and death. So in enduring that and facing that and realizing that we're all going to go through these problems, it's our duty to help each other in this regard, and always try to be conscientious about others and their feelings and where they're at in their devotional life. So at any point at this time, I'd like to stop and give the opportunity for others to speak. Any realizations, corrections, or if anyone has questions, we can try to discuss.
Excellent class, there, God brother, really nice. The quote from Jayapataka Maharaj is gold, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think it's based on maturity too. You know, like how we develop our adhikari and how we grow as devotees, and then how eventually, maybe it's the tribunals of old age, but eventually we realize that ultimately we have to serve each other. We have to be reposits of mercy and understanding of each other, and showing each other love before we can ever contemplate approaching Radha Krishna and understanding the beginning, the understanding of loving them. But what you said is that, like, this time of year is really tough. Like right now, myself, I have a problem. It's called depression. This is going to be the second Christmas I'm going to be going without my daughter, who died 2 years ago, tragically. And it hit my heart when you were reading Prabhupada's purport, how Arjuna was so disturbed as he looked at his cousins and his distant family members, and understood these people are going to die. And not to get too sentimental, but we as parents, we as fathers and mothers, I know you have 2 daughters, and Yogendra Prabhu has wonderful sons and a daughter. We have this natural urge to always be sure they're protected. Always be sure they're protected from what? Ultimately protected from harm. And God forbid, you know, anything worse than that. So this natural desire to protect, to feel, to yearn for safety for our loved ones is deeply ingrained in parents. You agree?
Yes.
And of course Arjuna was going through this quagmire. So that's important. I don't see it as sentimental. I see it as a real desire. It's a responsible desire as a parent, I'm sure. But it's really tough. And I'm not getting treated formally right now, but I am seen by the VA occasionally. But the point is, everyone has problems, like you were specifying, pointing out. And devotees have to know how to open up and become channels for each other. We have to be on the same frequency. And so many other times in devotional service or in temples, people, they want to build a shell around their own world. And if they are having difficulties, which they usually are, that shell becomes a wall, and therefore it's very hard for other people to reach out to them, to help them, to do something kind to them, just to pull them out of it, you know? So that's really tough. But that purport really struck me hard, how Arjuna was really, he was lamenting. He was going through major grief and maybe even second thoughts about slaying his family members. Because why? Because he's a Kshatriya, he wants to protect them. He wants them to live fulfilling lives and be happy. So similarly, as a father, I wanted my daughter to live a fulfilling life and be happy. It wasn't to be. So with that premise, how can I become stronger in devotional service? By going through that.
Well, first I want to thank you for sharing all that with us. I think that's what interaction with each other is about. Accepting our vulnerabilities and, I just applaud your truthfulness and your being so candid, and thank you for that. I'm sorry, if you could repeat your question.
How can I use that to be strong in devotional service, like you were saying?
How can you use what specifically?
That grief that I'm going through, that trauma that I experienced, and as a parent.
Yeah. Well, I think, what's the saying, whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. It's, I feel, personally, and I would like others to respond to, realizing, Srila Prabhupada has taught us that we're insignificant spirit souls. God is so great and so powerful. And by realizing our insignificance, we become significant. And that significance can be displayed in how we humbly approach Krishna for help, realizing that we're part and parcel of Him, and we can get stronger day by day by simply following the instructions laid down to us by Srila Prabhupada, by simplifying our life, by realizing that we are humble servants of the servant, and always trying to meditate on that we are simply here to serve. And the more we can become conscious that we're servants, and that Krishna, He's the supreme proprietor. He's the supreme enjoyer. He's all powerful. He's full of these 6 opulences. And we're simply His menial servant. And we'll realize that more and more by becoming servant of the servant of the servant. So the more we can embrace Lord Chaitanya's instructions, Trinadapi Sunichana, the more we can chant the holy name incessantly, that we without stopping, where we are constantly meditating on Krishna's holy name, the more we can really apply these instructions to our life, then little by little we will overcome all these things. Ultimately, on a pragmatic level, as a father, I think you can, and I can relate to you as wanting to be, you might be a little too hard on yourself. Because ultimately you have to realize our problems, I mean, when we compare our problems to this problem Arjuna was facing, can you imagine having to stand across from your daughter on a battlefield and kill her? I mean, Arjuna had such great love, what to speak of the love he had for grandfather Bhishma. I mean, this problem that Arjuna was facing it's just something so difficult for us to comprehend. So many horrible things happen in this material, but when we think of this problem that Krishna placed before Arjuna, a lot of our problems become very insignificant in that. Although they're significant to us, but I think Krishna, through instructing how he instructs Arjuna, and Arjuna becomes his disciple, and he surrenders to him. And he says, I can't do this. I just have to surrender. Tell me what to do. So we all can learn from Arjuna. We are, in one sense, in the same position. So we have to come to some point in our life where we just say, Krishna, tell us what to do. We can't figure it out. It's like Arjuna, his mind was reeling. He was overwhelmed. And trust me, he was an advanced Vaishnava. So what to speak of us in our frail positions? I mean, he's facing on the battlefield his so-called enemies, but then he realizes, these are my relatives. This is my grandfather. I'm going to kill him. Krishna, I can't do this. Krishna, no, you can. He says, in fact, it's already done. So we have to see, I don't know if my answer is helping you, but we have to see, become an instrument. As Arjuna realized, I have to become an instrument of Krishna's will. So somehow or other, we have to become an instrument of Krishna's will. Yes, Prabhu.
This verse divided into two sections, and I think you did give an answer there. Arjuna says that he's confused and about his duty. He's lost composure, and because of his miserly weakness. And the second part, the answer, he asks, he commits, he surrenders, then he asks again. And so he asks, in this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. And I think in some of the self-help groups, they found a person has actually got to ask. You can't give someone what they need. They'll say, I don't want that. Mm. But if someone asks for it, then you can give. Yeah. And they will accept. Then Arjuna says, so I'm asking, in this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple. So he's committing himself, as you said, as a disciple to Krishna. A soul surrendered. And if we don't surrender, it makes someone mad sometimes if they are having a particular problem and you say, you just need to surrender. It's like, Prabhu, and they say, you're not surrendered. They're not giving an answer. They're just saying, this is one of the symptoms that you're not surrendered. But as we see here, Arjuna surrenders himself to Krishna, and then he asks one more time, please instruct me. And some, and you can help some, even yourself. Speaking just for myself, if someone gives you an answer and or you give someone an answer and they say, I don't want to do that, but you're asking for instruction, so we have to accept the instruction. And so that's coming up.
Well, I apologize beforehand in case I said something that's, Shaya, he is asking, but we're not Krishna.
No.
Nor are we Srila Prabhupada, and we only have a little bit of small qualification. But in a practical light, I have a friend whose daughter didn't pass away, but has serious addiction problems. So that friend became involved in a support group to help parents with children with addiction problems. And he found help in that group and became and was able to help others involved, and eventually was traveling around the country to different parent support groups with children with addiction problems. And he helped so many people around the country because he was a member of that group. He was living it, going through it. So I just as a suggestion, I would join a group of people who have similar experiences with this type of grief, and relate with them, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you, and you'll be able to help them, and that will, appease you, being able simply to help others who have those same grief-stricken feelings.
Okay. Yes, Mama.
This is a story of something from a Prabhupada story that I've seen twice circulated on the internet, on Facebook. That a mother brought her 15-year-old daughter to Prabhupada and said she's dying, she's got leukemia, she's crying, the daughter was crying and everything, and they expected like some kind of special concern or something, and Prabhupada said, have you not been listening to me? I've been talking about this, everybody's got to die. He just said he didn't give them that sympathy. He just said, you have not been listening to me, everybody's got to die. So, and then they got it, after, a couple of minutes of this, they got it, and the girl kind of pulled herself together and stopped crying. I guess she got a little stabilized, just thinking like that. So, from this I say that when death intersects our happy little lives, we're going along with, more or less happy little lives, and then death intersects somehow. And it actually proves the philosophy. In a way, that it says everybody's got to die, and there's a soul that's eternal, and it gives us a chance to really get the philosophy in its raw form, so we can become actually stronger.
One, yes, Prabhu.
That's so true, but simultaneously, it's so true that just as Arjuna was weak and Krishna healed him, we're even weaker because we're not qualified like Arjuna was in previous ages. We're very attached beings to this world, and these types of things can really devastate us. There's another devotee who visited here recently and had a young son. He was a very joyful person, and within a year's time, that son had also died of leukemia. Unexpectedly, just a young man. And family's devastated. Father's still devastated. I'm sure that people, like Ushaya Prabhu, could be, in the course of time, could be very helpful to a person like that, because it's very difficult helping a person in that situation. Krishna can, Krishna can do anything, and he can work through his devotees, and he can work through anyone, because ultimately everyone is his part and parcel. So again, I would suggest that there's people that need help with this problem, and I would urge Bushai to do his best to try to become, to meet them, because they're there, and they especially through these different self-help support communities, support group communities. And that would be one way that he could help heal himself, helping heal others.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, with Bushai, what we went through is something, even in our Shastra, it's totally unnatural that children die before the parents. I mean, in past ages, the king would be held responsible if something like that happened. I mean, it's such a difference in government in past ages as opposed to now. But, so that is one of the most difficult things for a parent to endure, without a doubt. I'll share with you one thing. I don't know if this will help, but I had a relative of mine who had divorced, and her ex, she had a child, and her ex-husband, this was after, but one day just killed himself, committed suicide. So she was enduring this guilt, or some going through the psychological struggle of dealing with this, like, could I have done something different, so on and so forth. One thing we have to always remember, all of us are individuals, and we all have the that freedom to choose. And there's, as much as a parent you want the best for your children, they're going to make their own choices one day. And what they choose may not be exactly what you would have chosen for them. But we have to acknowledge that they made that choice. You didn't. So, similarly, I'm trying to comfort my cousin. I said, look, you did not kill him. He made that choice. And, she expressed her appreciation that helped her, because ultimately, we have to fly our own plane. And ultimately, we have to take responsibility for our actions. And the more we want to blame someone else for our actions, the more we'll stay in illusion. So, I'm just sharing this because hopefully this will be of some help to Prabhu, to anyone who's going through the suffering of losing a loved one, that who may have died untimely for whatever reason, that the individuals who go through life blaming others for their problems, or those who generally are not very God conscious, the Vaishnava accepts what comes to him and tries to see everything as I was saying earlier, as an opportunity. These problems that we get placed with, or opportunities for us to make advancement. It's not opportunities for us to give up. And then there's the saying, do the best we can and give the rest to Krishna. Krishna is all powerful. Krishna can do anything. So we have to continue. It's 1:30 now.
Talavana had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tali, get your hand up, Yogi said.
I was going to make a point to what the guy was saying. It was just ironic to me the point he was bringing up. Because I was in the same exact position that you're in. I reached out for help and received it. Ushaya is mainly the reason. He helped me great.
Yeah.
And he went through similar conundrums last year about his daughter, right about the time when I was in my most dire needs, and he had to fly to New England and let me sit there going, what's going on? And I understand what he's going through. And for it to come back to him this year, I pray to Krishna that he receive the help that he needs.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Now we have something that will help all of us. Prashana.
We couldn't make up our mind before you came, though, where we're going to start out. I don't know if...
in here or...
Yeah, whether in here or outside. I'm not sure how the weather is outside.
It's not raining.
But is it too cold? I mean, is it... I leave it up to the devotees. Y'all decide where you want us to serve it out. But I need to go tell the people in charge as soon as possible.
Anyone have a strong feeling here or outside?
We should check it to see who's volunteering to clean up afterwards before we decide. Somebody's going to clean up. Is there a cleanup?
Yeah, so Yogi always usually says, well, we do it in here, who's going to clean it up?
Yeah, somebody has to remember.
Not that cold?
Okay.
Not that cold.
Well, Srivastava Prabhu said it's not that cold outside, but let's see if we can get a consensus among his wife and daughter about that. Is it too cold outside or not? No, they said no, so
Okay.
we'll try to do our best with it. And hopefully those tables are dry, though. That's another thing we need to check. See if the tables are dry out there.
I always
I'll go and check.
Prabhupada.
We're liable to step out of my money. They had